Today we're talking about expense forecasting, something that can make or break your business. I'll show you exactly how to create a practical expense forecast that keeps your business on track. Don't worry about taking notes. We've captured this in our article in the description. The first thing you need to do is understand what we mean by expenses, your operating costs. Think rent, utilities, marketing, insurance, and payroll. These are the ongoing costs that are required to keep your doors open and your business running. Here's the challenge most business owners face. They understand their expenses exist, but they don't have a clear system for tracking them month over month. So what I want to show you in LivePlan is how you can take all these operating costs and turn them into a forecast that actually guides your decisions. Let me demonstrate. You can see I'm in my coffee shop and I've got some expenses. I don't have a whole lot right now. I've got lease and marketing. So I'm just gonna jump in here and I'm gonna use our AI and I'm gonna get some suggestions of some expenses that I might wanna put in here. So I'm gonna add some professional services, right? Legal, accounting, some cafe furniture. Let's just leave it at that. We've got some marketing expenses, we've got the lease, we've got professional services. Obviously there's more expenses and you're gonna want to build them out. And if you're not sure, you can see that the AI suggests. I also suggest that you use a search engine and you just Google what are expenses for instance, a coffee shop, right? You're gonna get a really good idea. Maybe you've forgotten some. One of the things I'm gonna show you is anytime you can forecast an expense as it directly relates to revenue, variable expense, that's way better for your business. It's easier to forecast and it's also easier to keep your business on track because then you're only spending the money if you bring in the money because you're forecasting that expense as a percent of revenue. So what am I talking about? Well, here we have marketing. And what I want to do is I want to have that marketing actually be a percent of overall revenue, right? Because we want to market the coffee shop. And so all the revenue that I make from the coffee shop should play into marketing it. So I'm going to do a percent of overall revenue. And I'm just going to keep it constant right now. Now, what revenue percentage should I do? Well, this one's an easy one. You can check our benchmarks and you'll see that we have that included. You can also Google this, go to your trade association website. These are pretty easy things. But let's just say for a coffee shop that we want to spend 10% of our revenue starting in January, and that's how we're going to forecast this. And now you can see I have forecasted my marketing based on my revenue, which is awesome, right? Now a lease, that's a fixed expense. As much as I would like to pay less if I make less money, that's not how rent works, right? We all know that. So you probably have some sort of a lease or rent agreement, and that's what you're going to enter. This is a fixed cost. It's not going to change no matter how much or how little I sell. So let's forecast that in here in LivePlan. And our lease is $1,500 a month. And we're just gonna leave it at that and I'm going to save and exit. So you can see lease is a fixed expense and that is how I've put it into LivePlan. It's $1,500 every month. And you can see that marketing is variable based on that revenue I'm bringing in every month. This is the way you want to think about your expenses. And like I said, the more that you can think about variable expenses, even cafe furniture could be variable, right? Maybe you want to have basic furniture to start out, maybe not as much, and as you make more revenue, you're going to add more furniture and you're going to give yourself a budget. You probably also have to replace furniture, right? So anywhere that it makes sense, do your expenses as variable expenses as they relate directly to revenue. And a tool like LivePlan is perfect because we let you do that, right? We're going to ask you, how do you want to enter it? Is it just an amount? Is it a percent of overall revenue or specific revenue? And then we're going to ask you if it's custom and constant, or do you want variable amounts? You could do it in Excel, you could do it in other spreadsheets. A tool like LivePlan is going to hold your hand and the calculations are going to be correct. The key here as you build your expense forecast is educated guessing, right? And that's fine. You don't have to know everything. You can break everything down by category. Fixed costs, like rent or your lease, versus variable costs, like your marketing. Whenever possible, make costs variable so that they can scale with your sales and you have that budget that's changing based on how much money you're actually bringing in from your sales. Now, most importantly, align expenses with actual business activities. If you're planning a big marketing push, make sure you budget for it. You're not going to all of a sudden double your sales by doing nothing. Every expense should connect to real business activity. If you want to take the guesswork out of building your expense forecast, LivePlan walks you through every step we just covered. You just saw it, from categorizing costs to setting monthly budgets. Use the link in the description to get 50% off your first month. What this really means for your business is control. Expense forecasting is going to prevent overspending and it's going to help manage cash flow effectively, right? You don't want to spend more than you bring in, and you have to understand how much actual cash is in the bank, because that's different than profits. But here's the deeper value. Comparing actuals versus forecast teaches you when assumptions were wrong and when you might need bigger strategic changes. First, you're going to forecast operating expenses using some common sense, but then you're going to break them into fixed versus variable costs. This is where a tool like LivePlan can be great help. Third, you're going to plan month by month for that first year. And fourth, you're going to review regularly and compare plan versus actuals. A well-crafted expense forecast is going to clarify what you spend and helps you steer smarter and make better financial decisions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.